One, two, three. For my research project, I decided to look through the video game community and answer this question. What are the principles to creating a video game? I thought about what kind of question I wanted to research for this research project and thought of what area of developing a 3D video game it would be like, and I really wanted to look into it more. At first, I was really aiming for the movement within the game. For example, the walking material of how the character runs, jumps, makes weird faces and everything. But then I realized it would be harder to get the information needed for that type of area in the game development. And that's how I came to this question. Since it was my dream job to work in the gaming industries, I have finally decided to focus on the principles of developing a 3D game. The reason for this decision is that the area of work I would like to work in the future is developing the characters and designing the backgrounds of video games. What does it take to create the designs for a video game? The reason why I have researched this question is because I love the idea of creating a 3D game and always wonder what are the main stages that go into creating a video game. I also wanted to understand how much effects, sweat, and tears go into designing the gaming concept. So here's what I've found out within my quest to answer this question so far. But first, I'll establish on what areas I'll be covering in this outcome in this order. Number 1. Looking through what does it takes to produce a game, and what should a producer do to help out the team, or producers, if there's more than one. You can never know. Number 2. We are going to go through the stages of designing everything in the game and how it came into one of the most important stages within the gaming process. Number 3, we'll be going through the principles of modeling characters, and we'll also be answering this one question that plays a big role in the modeling and the gaming industries. Does the game animation principles follow the same principles as the movie animations? And the answer is actually quite simple. Number 4, we'll be looking through the coding and the music section of the game and how it mends the game process, like sewing through fabric. And what stress do these areas of work can cause, if not well contained. Also, throughout this process of covering these topics, I'll be going through the information found within the interviews I have and websites that was most helpful for me. Now that I have gone over all this information, let's actually get into this. 1, 2, 3. How are producing ideas for a video game are developed? Surprisingly, most video and computer games are developed by third-party developers. In these cases, there are many external and internal producers. External producers may act as exclusive producers and are employed by the gaming publisher. The internal producers work for the developer itself and have more of a hands-on role. Some game developers may have not internal producers, however, may rely solely on the publisher's producer. Now, you might be wondering, what does a producer do? In game development, there are many roles. A programmer programs code, an artist creates the art, an animator animates characters and objects, and a game tester tests games. A producer's role, however, is not so well defined. Duties will differ between studios and the video game production's expertise. The video game producers are a little like book editors, a little bit like film producers, and a lot like product managers. They manage the production schedule, budget, development team, licenses, and outscoring parties. They also work with public relations and the media quality assurance teams and are an integral part in getting a product green lit. It's also the producer's job to help guide the product towards meeting a shelf date. If the shelf date is missed, it is the video game's producer's job to work with the public relations to release a reasonable excuse for the video game's delay.
A producer must be proficient in both speech and written words. Video game producers interact with various departments and the people within them, each department having their own way of communicating with the game producer. Producers must be able to speak to everyone's language and translate between departments when needed. The producer must also be comfortable speaking in front of groups and in camera. In this role, it is necessary to stand in front of the industry's exclusives and sell them on whatever is the producer need to prove on. This means being enthusiastic, well-spoken, understandable, witty, and most of all, confident. Alright, now that we had a look at the producers, now let's go into the concept art. Now, concept art is a certain art-based part that shows areas of character designs that look through face construct, body structure, body clothing design, weapon structure slash uses, and type of human characteristics. Concept artist is also used for making backgrounds as well. Concept artists used in all areas of gaming community and also follow through other digital things like movies and animations or other media before it is turned into a final product. Artists attempt many styles to achieve the requirement results for the work, or sometimes sorting out a noteworthy result. Designers are filtered and refined in stages, narrow down the choices. The concept artist isn't the only used to develop the work, but also to show the product's progress to the administrators, the shoppers, and investors. Once the development work is completed, the advertisement materials often assembles concept art, although they are usually created specifically for this purpose, based on the final work. It takes months of planning a game, but longer to create the sketches slash concepts of said game. I have discovered that the concept art is never finished and also goes through the stages of making the game. Bits and pieces will change within the character or background design till the producer believes it's suitable for the video game that they're trying to create. Now, the steps to creating and designing a character and slash background mostly figure around the gaming idea. For example, a swordsman who is assigned to find all the gems in the country, and the game is to collect the gems hidden in the terrain through the character. For this game, the character would be buff, strong, or would it be the character would be slim but smart? These are the examples of questions that will be used to find the right body, clothes, features, and weapon that the game needs for this work. I like how to I like how putting a man wearing a spacesuit in the middle of a tropical island on his native land will be a horrible idea as the character wouldn't clash with the background and its surrounding around it. The best way to create a game is to ask the following question. What is the theme of the game? What kind of characteristics must the background of the character have? What colors should be suitable? How would this character move? Is there any weapons? What are the character's purpose? When will the player enter the map? Would this? Who will play this? What would the background look like? What would it feel like? And so on. Now let's go into modeling slash animating principles. Before the 3D animation for this game is created, there is the modeling process. What is the modeling process, you mean? In 3D computer graphics, 3D modeling is the process of developing the mathematical representation of three-dimensional surface of an object, either inanimate or living, made with specialized software. Some products, such producers, use 3D modeling in Maya, best used for beginners and internet creators, 3D Max, ZBrush, and Blender for those companies that cannot afford expensive digital products used in many big gaming companies like Ubisoft. Video 3D modeling also follows the principles before the animation begins. What are the principles, you may be asking yourself? The principles to modeling follow these areas. The modeling stage must have every character, environment, item in the game that are producing based on the concept art of the game. Textures and materials must be added after creating the models for the game. Rigor also plays a big role within the principle to modeling as it builds and controls the structure for items that need movement, which leads us to the final step. Stop talking for a bit and just display text on the wall. And yeah, these are the area itself has 12 principles that I'll be talking about right now. Enjoy the silent video. With music and sound effects, when creating a video game, sometimes the team wouldn't actually have a professional creating some pieces for the game. Nope, sometimes one of the team areas will create the music while doing the other work. Now let's go for something else. What is a game programmer? A game programmer is a software engineer, programmer, or computer scientist who primarily develops code base for video games or related software such as development tools. Game programming has many specialized positions all over which fall under the umbrella area of game programmer. How are video games programmed, you may ask? Programming language. Once the gaming internal design has been agreed upon, the developer language must be decided upon. Many games are not written in one language exclusively and may combine two or more languages. For example, Unity, a popular game engine, has different pieces written in C, C++, and C#. This is also how game really comes together, other than the test runs from the game testers and fixing up any problems with the game. Okay, so let's go into the interviews that I have accomplished while completing my research folio. I have interviewed one TAFE teacher who was teaching AIU Gaming Media and Technology course, and two students that are taking the TAFE VET, whatever course with AIE. As I'm interviewing both teachers and students, I decided to change the questions asked towards the teacher, as some of the questions were directed towards why the students chosen this course and how they got into the course. These are the questions I have used for the interviews with the students. What originally got you interested in the game development team? What stages of creating a development game did you believe was the hardest? Who/what inspired you to create this course? What was your favorite stage of creating a video game? What is your opinion of the most artistic stage of creating a video game? The interviews conducted were helpful in answering my questions. The interview was designed so that students Monica and Kim, who I interviewed, would write their own thoughts and opinions. The questions were based on both students' own general knowledge and experiences. Also, what has changed throughout their process of creating a video game single-handedly. None of the information that was presented in those interviews were obtained from neither YouTube or other information formats. There, whom I interview, assures that the information that I have provided was primarily sourced, not second-handed. The key findings that came out of this interview were that there is difference on how we process information of creating a game. Yet there seems to be a different strong point in creating a game. The reason for this is that we all process things differently. That also goes with the same for game developers like myself. As we all make and develop things and think differently, stress is all the same for all of us. Now working in video game businesses put huge pressure on all team members' shoulders when creating a game. As to continue to create a video game, everyone must meet the deadline, or else more pressure is laid on the shoulders of everyone in the team. Producers are more likely to get stressed as they have organized everything in advance. That includes meetings with the team members and other business enterprises. Causes of stress: the situation and pressure that causes stress is known as stressors. We usually think stresses are being negative, such as exhaustion, work schedules, or a rocky relationship. However, anything that puts high demands on you can be stressful, and high demands are always in this type of area of work. So always please be careful when dealing with stress in these areas. Okay, now we have arrived to the end of my outcome. Wow, what a blast it's been. I have had to say this probably has been one of the hardest conclusions to do, as well all this semester for researching leads to this outcome pretty much. Anyway, thank you for your time and goodbye.